The folks at ClonerAlliance sent over this UHD Pro 4K video capture device. It's a standalone capture device. I'm going to test this out, see how well it works. That's coming up on ThriftyAV. This ClonerAlliance UHD Pro 4K capture device is a standalone device. And it captures more than just 4K. It captures all sorts of resolutions. And it has a bunch of features. Now I'm going to go over those features. If you're really not that interested in the setup and the features, skip ahead to the video tests where I see how well the video tests do. Everything's time indexed, so you should be able to find those real easy. Let's take a look at what came in the box. You get a short instruction manual with a QR code if you want to see a more extended version. Here's the unit itself. The remote requires 2 AAA batteries not included. There's a power adapter with a barrel style connection. It comes with a micro USB cable and an HDMI cable. I want to talk about the connections and buttons on here. On the back of the unit, here's the power switch, barrel connection for power, HDMI out, HDMI in. And along the front, we have a line in, a line out, and a microphone input. The buttons include a switch between H.265 and H.264, a snapshot button, and a record stop button. Going through the remote, this starts and stops a recording. This display shows you information about what you're doing. That's a snapshot button. These arrows in the OK are used for menu items to navigate the menu. There's the menu button, there's the back button. For playback of files, this will play or pause them, and you can select between video or images using these buttons. You can delete files you don't want with that button. Okay, with the microphone input, you can volume down and up. That's pretty important and missing on some capture devices. Looks like you can mute the microphone as well. The bottom row adjusts the HDMI audio, volume down, volume up, and mute. Okay, I dimmed the lights and boosted the gain on my camera so you can see this light here. It's flashing blue and green. And that's what you get when there are no devices plugged in. Let's plug a 4K signal into this device. With a 4K signal, I'm getting a solid blue Cloner logo here. Let's switch to 1080p. Feeding a 1080p into this, I'm getting a green Cloner logo. And just for giggles, let's feed 720p in. With a 720p input signal, I'm getting the green logo again. I'm now feeding the UHD Pro's HDMI out into this TV set to demonstrate that the TV is receiving a 720p signal, which is the same type of signal I'm feeding into the ClonerAlliance UHD Pro. So the HDMI out resolution matches the HDMI in most cases. But if you are feeding a 4K signal into the ClonerAlliance UHD Pro, it's going to output a 4K signal. This TV does not support 4K, and that's why I'm getting unsupported mode here. The UHD Pro does not down convert 4K to output to 1080p devices. I'm going to be using a USB thumb drive to capture my footage, but you can also use an external hard drive with the UHD Pro. With this device, you can select between H.264 and H.265. The default is H.264, but when I hit this button, this light turns green and it is now going to record H.265. Going through the menu, the first option is record settings. I can select between H.264 and H.265 again here. Bitrate is defaulting to low. I'm going to increase that. I want a high bitrate on my recordings. Always display record. That's currently on, and that's fine as far as I'm concerned. I do want to know when I'm recording on whatever monitor I'm using. This would be probably the file size limit, and it goes 2, 4, and 16 gigabytes. Time watermark, I'm going to leave that off. Loop recording, I'm going to leave that off. Schedule settings. This will let you set a timer for a recording. I'm probably not going to mess with that. System settings. I'm going to leave the language on English, but I'm curious to see how many languages there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 languages. All right. System time. I'm going to go ahead and set this. It is not January 1st, 2020. Playback loop. You can pick single file, off, or full list. I'm going to go with full list. And then there's a reset that I don't want to do. Video playback. It'll list any files you have so you can play them back. I don't have any files recorded yet. And photo playback similarly will display any photos you have stored. I haven't stored any yet. And I want to show what the display button does. Over to the left it says the format, the bit rate, the mic input, etc., etc. Showing the full computer capabilities of the UHD Pro is a little beyond the scope of this video and would make a long video even longer. But I do want to show that it does work with a computer. So setting up a device, and the device is ready, and as you can see, I'm using the Windows Camera app, and now it is recording a file of this captured video. And here I am setting it up in OBS Studio, and I can use this to either capture the recording or stream it. Time to compare some footage. Right now I'm speaking into a Panasonic HCX 1000. This camera does have HDMI output. I have it currently set to 4K 30. I'm feeding that into the ClonerAlliance UHD Pro, and I'm recording it right now. Now, right now you're watching me directly from the Panasonic, and now you're watching the captured footage on the UHD Pro, and this is what it looks like and sounds like. Now, it would be good to compare them side by side. So now you see the Panasonic on the left, the ClonerAlliance captured footage on the right. Now, at the risk of startling you, I'm going to zoom in tight on part of my face just to see the sharpness of the Panasonic compared to the sharpness of the captured footage from the UHD Pro. I wanted to compare the waveform and the chroma on these two clips, so I loaded them into DaVinci Resolve. Here is the source clip, and here's the capture clip. The waveform on the capture is definitely more compressed with a higher black level and lower peak levels. Also, the chroma is a little less saturated, but that comes with the change in the video levels. Now, I also want to compare color bars, so I recorded some color bars on my camera. Everything here is just dead on. This is the source color bars. Here's the captured color bars. And again, the black level is a little bit hot. The peak level is a little bit low. And then the chroma lost some saturation. Now, these issues with the video level and the black level can be fixed in post-production. Checking the media info, it's recording MPEG 4, has AVC codec, video bitrate is 18.4 Mbps, and that is 4K width and height, 29.97 frames per second, YUV color space, and 420 chroma subsampling, 8-bit depth. I've changed locations, and there's a reason why. The TV behind me is my only 4K TV, and I wanted to check out a couple of 4K sources starting with the Goobangdoo Android streaming device. I launched VLC on the Goobangdoo and captured bars and my previous test file again. Here are the scope readings for my Goobangdoo device compared to my previous capture and the source material. Again, there's compression on the peak level to the maximum video level. That's true with the test footage and with bars. There's a black frame around the video as if it was resized. That's the Android device doing that. That is not the fault of the ClonerAlliance capture device. The next 4K device I want to try out is my Roku Ultra, but when I have it plugged in, I'm getting a no signal error from the UHD Pro. I think this might have something to do with the HDCP part of the signal that's coming out of the Roku. Even though I'm not playing back a copyrighted movie, I can't get anything out of my Roku Ultra into the ClonerAlliance device. The next device I'm testing it with is a Samsung Blu-ray player, and just like the Roku, I'm getting an error message. I think this is HDCP related, even though I'm not even playing a Blu-ray in the Blu-ray player at this time. One thing a lot of folks are going to want to use the UHD Pro for is to capture gaming. Now I have this headset plugged into the UHD Pro. I'm using one of those splitters that splits the microphone from the headphones. I have the headphones plugged into the line output. I have the microphone plugged into the microphone input. I'm hearing it just fine and the mic is working. Now I do not have a PlayStation or an Xbox, but I do have a Flashback 9, and if it can capture the Flashback 9, it can capture your other gaming devices. One important thing about this is I can adjust my mic volume and I can adjust the HDMI volume, so I can get a good mix between my voice and the audio from the unit. The object is to jump from vine to vine without falling off into the bottom of the jungle. Alright, this next part is considerably harder. Alligators are worth between 100 and 300 each. This guy's a 300 one. Now if his mouth is fully open, you will die just like I did there. Alright, here I'm going to have to either duck under or jump over boulders. And now that did me in. I want to explain the black bars on the left and right side of this game. This was originally a 4:3 aspect ratio game, and they've preserved that aspect ratio by putting bars on the left and right. As far as the headset, if your headset has a TRRS plug, you will need the adapter that converts that to a separate microphone plug and headphone plug. So in conclusion, the ClonerAlliance UHD Pro is a versatile 4K capture device. You can use it as a standalone device or as a computer peripheral. It supports a wide range of resolutions, and it outputs the same resolution as you're feeding into it for the most part. When hooking it up to a monitor, you will need a monitor that supports that output. So if you don't have a 4K monitor, then you're not going to be able to monitor what you're capturing. There is some compression on the video levels. The black levels are a little high, peak levels are a little low. Of course, that can be adjusted in post-production. The chroma hue was spot on. It was really good, better than I've seen on most capture devices. The footage lost a little bit of sharpness, but I have yet to test any capture device that does not lose a little bit of sharpness when you capture it. This is an HDCP compliant device, so don't expect to use it with a Blu-ray player, Roku, etc. And the audio level controls are better than I've seen on other devices that have a microphone input. With a separate microphone audio and the HDMI audio on the UHD Pro, you will be able to get a good mix between game audio and microphone audio for streaming or capture. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Thank you to my patrons for supporting this channel, and remember, stay thrifty, everyone.